So it looks like Atelier Resleriana is entering the end of service period. That means the game is ending on March 28th, 2025. And I can't say I'm surprised, but I am disappointed because I actually did start to like the game a lot. And to be honest, I've kind of always liked the game, and there's just some weird choices that always confused me. And so, yeah, looks like this game. I actually don't know why this game is going to continue to run for 2 more months. Maybe they just want to milk it for as much as they can, which is kind of underhanded, to be honest. Can you still purchase? Well, I guess you can't. So yeah, I'm guessing you can't purchase any more items. So I think I'm kind of confused about. So I guess they should just, I don't know, they should just like start just giving you a bunch of stuff so you can experiment and pull to your heart's content until the end of service. But yeah, I could kind of tell this was going to happen, and for multiple reasons. One major reason I would say is that when I tried to buy stuff, I was very confused about what I was getting, and that happened in multiple angles, like in terms of like even just buying these lodestar gems, and then also in terms of like when I'm pulling on banners, I was really unsure of like uh, some of the systems they used. For example, over here they have step one, step two, step two. I was very confused about that, and as well as the rates. And I always found out the rates were not very good on kind of these banner things. And so when you thought you were getting a rate up, it was like not really a very good rate up. And also, in other games when you're pulling for characters, they have something called a pity system, which means that if you already spent a lot, you are kind of guaranteed the character of your choice. Whereas in this game, I don't believe there is a pity system. I mean, there is a sort of selector system, uh, and so if you actually spend, and it has to be a certain type of spending as well. But see these little badges you get, legend medals. I found that you only really got those if you kind of just spent your load stars plainly, instead of like if you saved them up to buy the 10 piece passes or something. I don't think you got these for those. But yeah, so eventually you could just select the character you wanted, but it's not very helpful, because you just couldn't get them fast enough. I was actually trying to build a certain team and I just couldn't do it fast enough. And so yeah, there's that. And so I guess the game was a bit stingy in that respect. But that's not to say I didn't get a lot of characters. But honestly, you need too many characters in this game. Uh, you need characters of all these elements, and so getting a whole bunch of characters uh, wasn't even enough, to be honest. Like if I wanted to build a fire team, what do I have? I have a shielder. I don't even really have a proper healer. I'd have to take a healer from another element. And then I need some more guys to break. I have a breaker in Marie here, and I've had Ryza since the day I selected her a long time ago, and all these other characters. You get these characters, and even with these characters, even though it's not enough to build a team, these characters are also not all equal. A lot of them are super weak and pointless to build, and so yeah, even like my best team was the strike team, right? So I was able to build. I had uh, Liddy, Flock, Valeria here, uh, and then I could use Corneria as a breaker. And before I had Placha built, but I stopped building her. But yeah, my best team was the strike team and a bolt team. And that's because I had a complete team that was powerful enough to use, and so and even with those guys built, I struggled through a lot of content. Some of it's really hard. I never managed to figure out a lot of these material quests here, and so to the score battles, I got stuck here, right at the part where it says hard, right? Uh, I got stuck exactly here, and so all these very hard things couldn't be passed by me. And sorry, I'm accidentally clicking this. By the way, it's not. I'm not trying to go into it every single time. And then on dungeons as well, like I was able to clear everything up until you get to a certain point here, and then suddenly there's some things you can't, and then some things you can, and then everything just gets progressively more difficult as well. And so I did find it difficult to fully enjoy this game. And also there's just way too much items, and it was hard to manage the items. And so I complained about this as well. Uh, there's way too much items, and there's no way to sort them properly. Uh, there's nothing that says sort by name. For example, there's no alphabetical sorting of all the things to be missing. Alphabetical is the thing that I would have appreciated the most. Uh, when you try to gear up your characters, they added a system where you could uh, have multiple people wearing the same equipment, but then that just really made it kind of high maintenance when you're custom building teams. Uh, yeah, there were just a lot of strange choices that, I mean, there were many quality of life upgrades, and these things I'm talking about are kind of trivial as well. That's not the real issue. The real issue is the things that make this game money, which is that it was hard to buy things, and so it was hard to have confidence in buying things. There was no pity system, and it was kind of confusing what you were getting when you were trying to try to buy things. And so those are the main issues I think with the game and why it doesn't make as much money. And then also it just didn't have reach. I guess it wasn't advertised that well because no one really talked about it much. But I think that this was an enjoyable game for me. I actually enjoyed it more than I enjoyed other games that are out, like Honkai Star Rail. I enjoyed it more than that, and that was like the one I would compare it with the most. Uh, I started to really dislike Wuthering Waves as I was playing that game, and I think they updated the game recently, kind of added some stuff to it, but I still struggle through like that game because it's just kind of a game not made for me. But yeah, I guess that's it. I'm just rambling now. So I'll leave this here. This is a good game that I'm sad to see go. I feel like there's something here that could be salvaged. Hopefully, it will be salvaged. Uh, but yeah, uh, it seems like they had just a wrong focus in a lot of stuff. For another thing that I would note is that uh, it was so difficult to understand why there were multiple characters of the same person, and so obviously you have Resna here, and there's multiple Resnas, and so every now and then I'd be like reading about the characters, and people would just be talking about it, and they'd be like, they would expect you to know who all the characters were, but I wouldn't know because I mean they would say uh they would name them in different ways, like for me I would say this is a lightning will bell, and that would make sense to me, but people wouldn't say that. They'd be like some seasonal name for her, right? And so it's hard to follow that, and I feel like they could have just had it like a switchable characters, and at the same time you wouldn't be able to use. It was weird to see the characters fight alongside themselves as well. But I understand that they're kind of like conserving by using the same characters, and so I get it, but at the same time, it was weird as a person trying to follow this. Uh, Also, the game's not in full English, and I know they have to translate it, and that's confusing for the devs, I bet. Uh, but they only went so far as to kind of put subtitles in. It would have been nice if they actually like fully went into it and just made it an English game, and then nobody would have had issues with it. But yeah, I guess that's it. And so yeah, end of an era.